Wall Street closing out the week just moments ago. All three indices in positive territory here at the closing bell. A couple reasons why, one being a better than expected monthly jobs report. But the one that's driving everything is China. Beijing today, for the first time, signaling they might, maybe, possibly, perhaps, could be open to thinking about talking about a trade deal with the United States. It's enough for the markets. The Commerce Ministry saying they're looking at proposals from the U.S. to start talks. The Wall Street Journal reporting that China is looking at fentanyl as a possible in to any discussions, with the country's security czar asking what exactly the U.S. wants to see China do in that area. Most analysts and economists will tell you that this is not really opening the door. It is basically just acknowledging that the door exists someplace. But when that story published, the markets did spike. While you were sleeping, though, President Trump imposed a massive tariff that you might actually feel pretty soon. It's the famous, or famous now anyway, de minimis loophole. That's the one that most of us had no idea existed before this, but now realize it means that all of our online shopping is going to be that much more expensive. It is the one that has allowed things worth $800 or less to come into the country duty-free. That one expired at midnight, so take a look at your Shein or Temu or Quince receipts in the coming days. I'm a little too old to perhaps pronounce those correctly, but hey, what are you going to do? Well, talks with China are closer now than maybe a few days ago. The one conversation that we do know will happen is with Canada. Mark Carney, the recently elected prime minister, coming to the White House on Tuesday. What's normally a meeting between two longtime allies, likely to be a little awkward this time.
Do you think over the past few days we have seen respect for Canada from the Trump administration?
Look, I would. We are, we're meeting as heads of our government to discuss that partnership.
Could you see that hesitation from the new prime minister? Can't imagine why that might be there. All right, our panel joins us now. CNN contributor, New York Times journalist, and podcast host Lulu Garcia-Navarro, CNN political commentator Jonah Goldberg, former senior spokesperson for the Harris-Walz campaign, Ian Sams, and former Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Ian, welcome to the arena on your first day. Jonah, I want to start with you big picture because, the markets, I don't want to say it's like, a dog with a bone or a treat, but that's a little bit how it feels nowadays. When I sit down here at 4 o'clock, the markets are closing. It's like, has somebody somewhere tossed the dog treat into the water for them to catch, or has the place, being told it's not going to be fed for the next week? How serious or real do you think this overture from China is, and what does it mean?
Well, look, we are, I think today's May 2, so that means we are 1 month past Liberation Day, and I'm so excited.
Do you feel liberated?
I feel extremely liberated. At the end of the day, China has an interest in coming to some sort of deal. The United States has an interest in coming to some sort of deal. Whether it is an improvement on the status quo from April pre-Liberation Day remains to be seen. There's a huge debate in sort of Trump world and Trump world adjacent about whether Trump is going to see this stuff through or find an off-ramp. And because the weirdness of all this is that they did it all backwards. It's like they front-loaded all the political pain, all the economic pain for the promise of reward down the road. And this is just simply unsustainable. The market volatility alone is not a healthy thing. And so I think they're going to come up with something face-saving.
Right. Well, and the fear itself can obviously lead to a recession.
Yeah, I think they are not yet faced with the consequences of their actions. We're just starting to feel that now, and we will be feeling it in the weeks to come. So that, I think, is when the rubber hits the road and when we're really going to see if Trump will see this through or he will not see it through. Up until now, you saw the jobs report today, a good jobs report. The economic news has been a little bit all over the place, but it's not like people are really, really feeling the pain. They will be soon, and that's when I think the political ramifications will be seen.
Well, Patrick McHenry, I have to say, I was wishing you were on set with us the other day as we were breaking down what Trump had to say about, I believe it was dolls. The kids are going to only have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls. The dolls are going to be more expensive. As the mom of 2 young children, I don't know if your kids are happy when you say no more dolls for you. I do say
course
we
not.
can't have more toys occasionally, but obviously it's my wallet that this impacts. I was just stunned that he said that from a purely like political strategic perspective. Was that a mistake?
Well, if this was the Romney era or the George W. Bush era, it would be the outrage of the month. But not today. It's like that was a part of an afternoon news cycle, and the next day it's something new. There is so much noise right now. There's so much noise happening in Washington that we're all trying to track and cover, and we're trying to run down everything that's happening here. But we're missing the actual signal here. The strategic view of this administration, this president, is focused on China. There's all this other ancillary stuff that's happening, but it's a trading relationship with China and the world that this president wants to get a new deal with. Everything else is secondary to that. So the pain and punishment, Mark Carney can have an awkward response, but he's going to have to negotiate. We're a much more important trading partner to Canada than they are to us, but it is in our interest to get this resolved. We need to get a roadmap for all these other countries so they can come in, we can have a new trading relationship with them, and they can join us in turning their attention to China. But it's going to be the China deal that will be the make or break thing for this administration, the lasting impact of this president's second term.
Yeah, I kind of assumes that President Trump's going to act rationally, though. I mean, you heard the comment the other day. You know, look, I'll do something maybe rare for Democrats. I give Trump a lot of credit. He won the election last year by talking about bringing down prices on day one. And instead of having an event every single day where he's bringing down prices of eggs, bringing down prices of gas, bringing down the prices of anything, he puts in place these tariffs, and the immediate impact is the prospect of higher prices for people. And so I think he's not really listening to where voters' concerns are very swiftly. He had the opportunity to seize the mantle of winning the election and doing something and building a huge, economic momentum this year for himself. And instead, it's this self-inflicted wound that he's brought on the tariffs. And I think that it's hard to imagine that he's going to change his mind when he's been saying for 30 years he wants to do these tariffs, and there's such chaos in the administration that even a day like today with the jobs report, which I saw them trumpeting, it reminds me a lot of where we made mistakes as Democrats over the last year, trumpeting some of these macroeconomic things that are fleeting and come out, instead of understanding that that's not actually what people really care about. What people care about is affordability of life. And when prices are going up because of these tariffs,
and they actually care about dolls. When you
they're not
go
going to care about
you
these
go to
stats.
kids and say, like, actually, President Trump is only allowing you to have one doll this
dolls doesn't
Christmas.
matter.
He
That does
becomes
not
the Grinch. He doesn't become Santa Claus.
Does not matter. Does not matter.
I don't know.
What you're saying, Ian, I don't want to shock anybody here, but I agree. And you're giving the best explanation of what this is about. The president won, and the president's strength is built on the perception of a strong economy, that he is going to bring a strong economy, and you are going to be better off for this. He will get the benefit of the doubt with his base, absolutely, for sure, to have a new trading relationship with China. You're not going to remedy this thing in a month's time that took us 30 years to dig this deep of a hole with our trading relationship with China. But unless people feel better about how their life is, how their economics are, how the market is doing, you're not going to have a winning hand for all the important things and all the important initiatives, much less where we're going to stand, where Republicans are stand in the midterm.
I generally agree with all that. At the same time, Donald Trump is the guy who goes around saying, he literally says the words like, I run the economy, right? He says, he's now making arguments that are like Bernie Sanders complaining about how people have too many kinds of deodorant, right? And Bernie Sanders said people have too many kinds of sneakers. What is wrong with you? He's now saying, oh, you have too many dolls, right? This is fundamentally left-wing economics that
He's
is
a
embracing,
degrowther suddenly.
while he's at the same time saying he's claiming full control of the economy. So like when you actually take credit for the economy and the economy doesn't do well, it's different than saying, hey, look, there are a lot of things going on and some of this is out of my hands.